So chapter 3 brings up more questions and more controversies. Will Jesus heal on the Sabbath? Why is Jesus so dismissive of his family? And just what is the unforgivable sin? Let's see what my family might have to say about this.
Verse 4. Then he turned to his critics and asked, does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath, or is it a day for doing evil? Is it a day to save a life or to destroy it? But they wouldn't answer him. That's just a really powerful verse to me, because, like, that's a loaded question. Like, is it a day to save a life or to destroy it? Like, that's just a weird question, because, like, everyone would hopefully say to save a life. Like, who would want to destroy a life?
Is it because he was going to heal somebody on the Sabbath and they didn't want him to do that? Well, and then at the end of that, it says that they were going to go out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus. So right there, they're taking that seriously. My other thing that I was going to say, and this is very strange, because I talked to Maddie about this too, and she thought it was weird too. But, and I thought about this as being a mom, and not as being, I don't know, just as being a mom. But when it says on verse 33. It said, well, it starts with verse 31 where it says Jesus' mother and brothers arrived. Okay, standing outside, they sent someone in to call him, and then it said, Jesus says in verse 33, "Who are my mother and my brothers?" So, I mean, I know what it's supposed to mean because of that, but how do you think Mary felt when he didn't say, "Oh, it's my mom. She's come to visit," you know? And he starts questioning.
Well, is Mary even there?
Well, it says the mother and brother, so I just assumed it was.
She's just saying that they're all children of God. We're all related because we are all children of God. That's his point there, I think.
Right. No, yeah.
So I don't know that he's not trying to be like, you're
He's
not
just
my mom.
making a point.
He's just trying to make a point that we are all related under God. So like we should treat each other as kin and not as.
Well, it does. I mean, it does say that. You know, it does say that because it says, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." Yeah, it does.
I liked verse 24 through 26 because it reminded me of Abraham Lincoln. If a kingdom is, well, I'm assuming he may have gotten it from the Bible, but if a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. And I bring up the Abraham Lincoln quote, "A house divided will not stand." Connections. That's all I had from that. I just thought that was interesting.
That is a good connection.
And I mean, I just like the verse too because it is important that, you know, we're not going to make progress as humans if we're not somewhat together. So.
I mean, being united in a time like this means we all need to be on, like, the same page. And we all need to, like, know how to help and just not, like, blow the whole thing off like some people are doing and just not caring. We all need to care about everyone in our community and just all be on the same page and, like, not go out and you need to practice, like, social distancing and to not, like, put the people that you love in danger. Verses 20 through, I'll say, like, 22. And it said, one time Jesus entered a house and the crowds began to gather again, so he and his disciples couldn't even find time to eat. When his family heard what was happening, they tried to take him away. He's out of his mind, they said. But the teachers of religious law who had arrived from Jerusalem said, he's possessed by Satan, the prince of demons. That's where he gets the power to cast out demons. So to me, that's just, like, crazy to make an assumption like that. Just to be like, oh, because he can do this, he must be filled with that same thing, if that makes sense. So because he can cast out demons, he has demons in him, which is just, like, a really bad, like, it was such a bad, what's the word? It's such a bad judgment to make, assumption to make about someone. And another thing is too, like, they went into a house to like find safety and security, in my opinion, but instead like the crowds began to gather and they couldn't even like eat food like they wanted to in a way. But it never says that they kind of complained about it. Instead, they got like ridiculed and were being called that they're out of their minds and they have Satan in them and stuff. So.
Just a couple of notes on this chapter. One is Mark seems to be wanting to talk about how great a following Jesus is getting, how quickly famous he's becoming. And this is disturbing different groups of religious leaders. And there's nothing like bringing groups that don't get along together like a common enemy. And so we see this starting to develop here with the Pharisees and the Herodians getting together, who are not friends at all. Another interesting note is where Jesus calls his disciples, that it's on the mountain. Is this perhaps a new Sinai? Sinai, of course, is the mountain on which Moses went and received the Torah from God. In any case, it is interesting to note how often that God and God's will is revealed on the top of mountains. One last comment concerning what just is the unforgivable sin, because many people are concerned. They want to make sure they have not committed that sin. Well, I want to let you know that the verb that is used here is one that is continuing. It's not a one-time deal, but something you continue to do. And so one commentator I read this week suggested that if you ask the question, just are concerned that you have committed the unforgivable sin, just that question alone means that you haven't done it. So rest assured, if you're asking that question of yourself, you have not committed the unforgivable sin. Now, if you haven't asked that question, no, I'm just kidding. I hope you've enjoyed Mark 3, and I hope you'll come and join us tomorrow for Mark chapter 4.